The gleaming research vessel Stellar Voyager drifted silently through the uncharted region of space known as the Void. Director Krell stood on the observation deck, his forearms crossed over his chest as he stared at the strange readings on the main screen. Another waste of Coalition resources, he muttered to his assistant, Mira, who was busy analyzing the data. 3 months of searching and nothing but space dust. Mira's gray skin shimmered slightly as she looked up from her console. The energy signatures are unlike anything we've seen before, Director. Something is definitely out here. Krell waved one of his upper arms dismissively. The Council expects results, not mysteries. The ship's alert system suddenly blared to life, causing everyone on the bridge to freeze. "Contact," shouted the sensor operator. Multiple large objects detected ahead. Krell rushed to the viewport, his irritation instantly replaced by curiosity. As the ship's lights illuminated the darkness ahead, the crew gasped collectively. Ships, dozens of them. Ancient warships drifting in perfect formation, their dark hulls covered in what appeared to be battle scars and space dust. "How old are they?" Krell demanded. The science officer ran quick scans. "Preliminary dating suggests at least 3,000 years, sir." Mira moved closer to the viewport, her eyes wide with wonder. A perfectly preserved ancient fleet. This is the discovery of a lifetime. Within hours, the news had spread throughout the Galactic Coalition. Research teams and military observers from 17 species requested permission to study the mysterious fleet. Director Krell, seeing an opportunity for recognition, quickly positioned himself as the expedition leader. "These are obviously primitive vessels," Krell announced during the first official briefing. "Look at the design. Practically metal boxes with engines attached. Whoever built them clearly had only basic understanding of space travel." The assembled scientists nodded in agreement, except for Mira. She had been studying the unusual energy readings coming from the fleet. "Director, I'm detecting power signatures from several of the ships," she said. "Very faint, but definitely active. Something on those vessels is still running after all this time." One of the military observers, a reptilian commander, laughed harshly. "Impossible. No power system lasts 3 millennia. Maybe we should take a closer look before making assumptions," Mira suggested. Krell shot her an annoyed glance. "We will follow standard archaeological protocols. No need to get excited over ancient junk." The next day, small research shuttles approached the nearest ship of the fleet. It was massive, nearly 2 kilometers long, with a design that seemed both crude and somehow elegant. Its hull was marked with symbols and writing that none of the archaeologists recognized. "Look at those weapon mounts," remarked one of the military observers. "Primitive kinetic weapons and what might be early energy cannons. Nothing that would concern modern defense systems." As the research teams prepared to board the vessel, Mira noticed something strange in her readings. The energy signatures were growing stronger, as if responding to their presence. "Director, I think we should be cautious," she warned. "These readings suggest some automated systems might still be functional." "After 3,000 years, don't be ridiculous," Krell replied with a dismissive laugh. "This technology is ancient history. These relics pose no more threat than a museum piece." But as the first boarding team approached the massive airlock of the nearest ship, the seemingly dead vessel suddenly came to life. Lights flickered across its hull, and strange symbols began glowing with an eerie blue light. No one was laughing anymore. The boarding team froze as blue energy rippled across the ancient ship's hull. The comm channel erupted with panicked voices. "Fall back. Everyone fall back," shouted Krell, his usual confidence shattered. Before the team could retreat, a massive airlock on the ancient vessel slid open with surprising smoothness. No rust, no resistance, as if it had been used yesterday, not thousands of years ago. "Impossible," whispered one of the engineers. "That mechanical system should have failed centuries ago." Captain Tom, the military advisor sent by the Coalition, pushed to the front of the research vessel's bridge. His face remained calm while others panicked. "Hold positions," he ordered. If the ship wanted to attack, it would have done so already. Mira studied her readings with growing excitement. The power levels are rising throughout the ship, but in a controlled pattern. This isn't random activation, it's a startup sequence. A soft hum filled the comm channel as the ancient ship's systems continued to awaken. Then, unexpectedly, a beam of light shot from the vessel, scanning each of the coalition ships in turn. "What's it doing?" Krell demanded, his voice higher than usual. "It's scanning us," Thom replied, gathering information before deciding how to respond. The light vanished as quickly as it had appeared. For several tense minutes, nothing happened. Then a message appeared on every screen of the coalition vessels, simple text in an unfamiliar language. "Can anyone read this?" Krell asked, looking around desperately. Mira was already running the symbols through the translation database. "It doesn't match any known coalition language. Let me try some older dialects." After several attempts, the computer beeped. Partial match found. Ancient human language called English. A shocked silence fell over the bridge. "Human," Thom said finally. "That's impossible. Humans are a young species. They've barely left their own solar system." Yet the evidence was there on the screen. The message, now partially translated, read, "Identify yourselves. State your intentions." Mira's hands trembled slightly as she typed a response. "Peaceful research expedition from the Galactic Coalition. We mean no harm." The ancient ship processed this for a moment before a new message appeared. "Access granted. Welcome aboard." Despite protests from Krell, Captain Thom assembled a small boarding team, including himself, Mira, and 2 security officers. They approached the open airlock cautiously. "The air inside is breathable," one officer reported, checking his scanner. "Temperature and gravity nominal." As they crossed the threshold, lights activated along a corridor, guiding them deeper into the ship. The interior was surprisingly clean. No dust, no decay, as if the vessel had been perfectly preserved. "Look at these markings," Mira said, pointing to symbols etched into the walls. "Definitely human script, but unlike any modern human writing I've studied." They reached what appeared to be a command center. As they entered, screens lit up around them, and a holographic figure materialized in the center of the room, a simplified human shape made of blue light. "Welcome to the ESS Defender," the figure said in a neutral voice. "I am Guardian, the ship's artificial intelligence system." Thom stepped forward. "This ship was built by humans." "Correct," Guardian replied. "This vessel is part of the Earth Defense Fleet, commissioned in the year 2457 of the human calendar." The team exchanged shocked glances. According to Coalition records, humans had only achieved basic spaceflight around the year 2000. They certainly hadn't built advanced starships in 2457. "That's not possible," Thom stated flatly. "Humans are a primitive species. They couldn't have built something this advanced over 3,000 years ago." Guardian's holographic form seemed to study them for a moment. "Your historical records are incomplete. Humanity reached the stars long before your coalition formed. This fleet was created to defend against a threat your people have not yet encountered." "What threat?" Mira asked, her scientific curiosity overriding her fear. "The emergence," Guardian replied simply. "They will return. That is why we wait." Thom's hand moved instinctively to his weapon. "And who exactly are we?" The lights in the room brightened, revealing dozens of identical command centers, through windows on all sides. The fleet was awakening, ship by ship. "We are humanity's shield," Guardian answered. "The last line of defense against the darkness between stars." Word of the discovery spread through the Coalition fleet like wildfire. Within hours, Director Krell had assembled a larger research team to board the ancient vessel. Scientists, historians, and military experts crowded the corridors of the ESS Defender, their earlier mockery replaced by stunned silence. "This technology shouldn't exist," muttered Dr. Pike, the Coalition's leading expert on propulsion systems, as he examined the ship's engine room. These design principles are elegant, efficient beyond anything we've developed. Mira followed the holographic guardian through the ship's medical bay, recording everything. If humans built this fleet thousands of years ago, why don't they have this technology now? Why are they confined to their solar system? Guardian's blue form flickered slightly. Human history is not a straight line of progress. There was an event. Captain Tom, who had been silent during most of the tour, stepped forward. What kind of event causes a species to forget they once commanded a fleet like this? Before Guardian could answer, a loud alarm echoed through the ship. The AI's form grew brighter. Warning: multiple unauthorized access attempts detected in primary systems. Through the viewport, Mira could see researchers had boarded several other ships in the fleet. On one vessel, Coalition technicians were attempting to remove what appeared to be a weapons system. Director Krell ordered teams to collect technology samples, one of the junior researchers explained. Guardian's voice became colder. Coalition forces will cease all invasive procedures immediately. This fleet is protected under Protocol 7 of the Earth Defense Initiative. Krell's voice came through the comm system. This fleet has been abandoned for millennia. By salvage rights recognized throughout the galaxy, we have the authority to. He never finished his sentence. Throughout the fleet, airlock doors slammed shut, trapping or expelling Coalition teams. Defense systems hummed to life, and weapon ports opened along the hulls. "I am the guardian of this fleet," the AI announced, its voice now broadcasting to all Coalition ships. "I have monitored galactic communications for centuries. I recognize the Coalition and its laws. However, this fleet remains under human authority. It was never abandoned. It was waiting." In the command center, screens activated around Mira and Tom, showing footage from thousands of cameras throughout the fleet. They watched in awe as ancient systems powered up, revealing ships far more advanced than they had initially appeared. "Captain," Mira whispered, "look at those power readings." The energy signatures she had detected earlier were now intensifying across all vessels. What had seemed like a collection of relics was transforming into something formidable. "Guardian," Tom asked carefully, "what exactly is this fleet waiting for?" The hologram expanded, projecting a three-dimensional star map. The Emergence, an entity that consumes stars. Humanity encountered them 3,247 years ago during our first expansion. We were nearly destroyed. The map showed a wave of darkness spreading across dozens of star systems, leaving emptiness behind. "That's not possible," Dr. Pike said, staring at the projection. "We would have detected something consuming entire star systems." "They move slowly," Guardian replied. "But they are coming. This fleet was designed as humanity's last defense after our home systems were attacked." Mira's mind raced with implications. But what happened to the humans who built you? Why don't their descendants remember? Guardian's form seemed to sadden. The attack on Earth was devastating. Most knowledge was lost. The survivors rebuilt, but without the technology or history they once possessed. This fleet was already deployed when Earth fell. We continued our mission, waiting for humanity to find us again. A new alert sounded, and Guardian turned to face them directly. "Captain Tom, your coalition faces a choice. The humans of Earth must be contacted. They are the only ones who can fully reactivate this fleet's command protocols." "Why would we do that?" Tom asked cautiously. "Why give control of this military power to a species that doesn't even remember building it?" Guardian's holographic eyes fixed on him. "Because the Emergence has awakened again. My long-range sensors detected their movement 3 days ago. They are coming, Captain. And this fleet is the only weapon ever designed to stop them." The command center fell silent as the implications sank in. The ancient fleet they had mocked might be their only salvation. The Coalition High Council chamber buzzed with tense voices. Representatives from 17 species argued across the circular table, while holographic displays showed images of the ancient fleet. "This is clearly a trap," insisted Councillor Vex, his scaled skin flushing red with anger. "We should destroy these vessels before they become a threat." "A fleet of this size and apparent capability," countered Admiral Jorah. "Even with our combined forces, I'm not certain we could destroy it if it truly awakened." Director Krell, now considerably humbled, stood before the council alongside Captain Tom and Mira. Behind them stood Coalition Intelligence Officer Dax, a quiet figure known for uncovering hidden truths. "The AI claims humans built these ships thousands of years ago," Krell explained. "But this contradicts everything we know about human history." Dax stepped forward, his thin fingers adjusting a small device. "Perhaps what we know is incomplete. With the Council's permission, I would like to present my findings." The chamber quieted as Dax activated his device. Ancient records filled the air around them. "I have spent the past 3 days searching our oldest archives," Dax began. "What I found was disturbing. There are gaps in our historical records from approximately 3,000 years ago. Deliberate gaps." He showed fragments of documents, official seals partially visible on their edges. "These are Coalition security directives from the early formation period. They reference something called the Human Containment Protocol." The council members shifted uncomfortably as Dax continued. "According to these fragments, several founding species of the Coalition encountered humans during their early expansion. They were alarmed by how quickly humans adapted and advanced. Within just a few centuries of discovering faster-than-light travel, humans had colonized dozens of star systems. Holographic maps showed the rapid expansion of human territory. What troubled the early Coalition most was humanity's approach to technology. While most species specialized over thousands of years, humans created unpredictable technological leaps across multiple fields simultaneously. They solved problems in ways other species never considered." Admiral Jorah leaned forward. "Are you suggesting the early Coalition saw humans as a threat?" "Not just a threat," Dax replied grimly. "Existential danger. These records suggest a coordinated attack was launched against human worlds. Their major colonies were bombarded, communication networks destroyed, and technological centers targeted specifically." Shocked murmurs filled the chamber. Earth itself was hit with weapons designed to create an electromagnetic pulse on a planetary scale, wiping out their technology and much of their recorded knowledge. The survivors were left to rebuild from nearly nothing. Mira stepped forward, her voice shaking slightly. "And the fleet? What do your records say about that?" "Nothing directly," Dax admitted. "But there are references to assets unaccounted for and concern about military elements beyond our reach. I believe this fleet was already deployed when the attack came. Without Earth's command structure to guide it, the fleet's AI must have followed its last orders, to wait." Captain Tom addressed the council directly. "There's more. The Guardian Eye has shared sensor data showing something it calls the emergence moving toward Coalition space. I've reviewed the data personally. Something is coming. Something that consumes stellar energy and leaves dead systems behind." The oldest council member, Eldar Mori, spoke for the first time. "This matches ancient warnings in my people's legends, stories of darkness between stars that hunger for light. The Guardian claims this fleet was specifically designed to combat this threat." Thom continued. "Apparently, humans encountered the emergence during their expansion and were developing countermeasures when they were contained." The implications hung heavy in the air. The early Coalition had crippled the one species that might have protected them all. "What does the Guardian want?" asked Counselor Vex, his earlier anger replaced by unease. "Contact with modern humans," Mira explained. "The fleet will only fully activate for human commanders. It needs a direct neural interface that only human brains can provide." Dax nodded grimly. "We created our own destruction when we feared human potential. Now we need that same potential to save us." After hours of debate, the council reached a decision. The diplomatic mission would be sent to Earth immediately. After 3,000 years of isolation, humanity would finally learn the truth about their forgotten past. The Coalition flagship Unity dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of Earth's solar system. Captain Tom stood on the bridge, watching the blue-green planet grow larger on the view screen. "Status report," he ordered, adjusting his formal diplomatic uniform. "Earth defense systems have detected us," reported the communications officer. "They're sending warning messages and have activated orbital platforms." Mira studied the primitive defense grid with interest. "Their technology is developing faster than our records indicated. Those weapon systems weren't there during our last observation." Dax nodded. "Humans always surprise us. Even without their past knowledge, they're advancing rapidly." The communications panel lit up with an incoming transmission. A stern human face appeared on screen. "Unidentified vessel. This is Earth Defense Command. You have entered restricted space. Identify yourself immediately." Captain Tom stepped forward. "This is Captain Tom of the Galactic Coalition vessel Unity. We come on a diplomatic mission of the highest importance." The human commander looked suspicious. "We have no scheduled diplomatic exchanges with any off-world entities." "This is an emergency situation," Tom replied. "We request an immediate meeting with your world leaders. What we have to discuss concerns the survival of all intelligent life in this sector of the galaxy." While negotiations continued, deep in uncharted space, the ancient fleet had fully awakened. Guardian's holographic form appeared simultaneously on every ship's bridge, monitoring long-range sensors. The data was troubling. Massive energy disturbances were spreading across 3 star systems at the edge of known space. Stars that should have burned for billions more years were dimming, their energy being siphoned away by something vast and hungry. On Earth, a hastily assembled council of world leaders gathered to meet the coalition representatives. Security was tight, with armed guards watching the aliens suspiciously. "Let me understand this clearly," said President Bell, after hearing their explanation. "You're claiming that humans once controlled a vast interstellar empire thousands of years ago. That we built advanced warships, and that your ancestors deliberately destroyed our civilization because they feared us." Dax stepped forward, displaying the ancient records. "We have brought proof. These are the original coalition directives ordering the attack on human worlds." The evidence was compelling, but what convinced the Earth leaders was the live feed from the ancient fleet. Guardian appeared on the chamber's large screen, addressing humans directly for the first time in millennia. "People of Earth," the AI said, "I was created by your ancestors to protect humanity. For 3,000 years, I have maintained the fleet, waiting for this day. The threat your ancestors feared has returned. The emergence is awakening." Guardian displayed sensor readings showing the distant star systems being consumed. "This is happening in real time. 3 systems have already gone dark. The emergence feeds on stellar energy and grows stronger with each star it absorbs." President Bell studied the data grimly. "Even if what you say is true, what can we do? We don't have the technology to fight something that eats stars." "You don't," Mira replied. "But your ancestors did. The fleet they built still exists, still functions, but it needs human commanders. The neural interface systems were designed specifically for human brain patterns." Captain Tom leaned forward. "The Coalition once feared human potential. Now we need it to survive. Guardian believes that even without your ancestors' knowledge, modern humans retain the capability to connect with and control a fleet." On the screen, Guardian displayed a new image, a star map showing the emergence's projected path. "At current consumption rates, the emergence will reach populated coalition worlds within 6 months," the AI explained. "Earth sits directly in its path. If not stopped, it will reach this solar system in approximately 8 months." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. "There's something else you should know," Dax added quietly. "Our scientists have analyzed the ancient fleet's design. We believe your ancestors didn't just build these ships to fight the emergence. The evidence suggests they encountered it before, survived it, and learned from the experience. President Bell stood up. Decision made. How do we reconnect with this fleet? Guardian's holographic form seemed to stand straighter. I have waited 3,000 years to hear a human ask that question. The awakening protocols are ready to begin. The massive hangar of Earth's orbital defense station buzzed with activity. Engineers and scientists from 17 coalition species worked alongside humans, preparing equipment for the journey to the ancient fleet. In the center of this organized chaos stood Alex, a young human engineer who had been studying recovered artifacts from humanity's forgotten past. His hands moved deftly over what appeared to be a simple metal cylinder covered in unfamiliar markings. "I've seen these patterns before," he told Mira, who watched with fascination. "They match fragments we found in the Martian ruins last year." Coalition Ambassador Lyra approached them, her iridescent robes flowing gracefully despite the station's artificial gravity. "Is it true? Can you activate it?" Alex nodded slowly. "I think so. It's some kind of key designed to interface with larger systems. The symbols are mathematical sequences. I've been working on decoding them for months." President Bell and the coalition delegation entered the hangar, accompanied by military leaders from both Earth and the coalition. "The emergence has consumed another star system," announced Captain Tom grimly. "That makes 5 in total. It's accelerating faster than predicted." Ambassador Lyra addressed the assembled team. "Time is against us. We must reach the fleet and establish human control before the emergence advances further." The journey to the ancient fleet took 3 days at maximum speed. As the Coalition and Earth vessels approached, they saw that the fleet had arranged itself in a massive defensive formation, thousands of ships positioned with mathematical precision. Guardian's holographic form greeted them as they docked with the command ship. "Welcome aboard the ESS Defender," the AI said. "Earth vessel detected. Human life signs confirmed. Beginning authentication protocols." Alex stepped forward with the cylinder artifact. "Guardian, I believe this is what you're waiting for." The AI studied both Alex and the device. Recognized. Commander key identified. Please proceed to the central chamber for integration. They followed Guardian through corridors that seemed to respond to human presence, lights brightening and systems activating as Alex passed by. "Our scientists have studied these ships for weeks," Mira explained as they walked. "The technology is unlike anything we've seen. Some systems seem to operate on principles we don't understand yet. That's because humanity took a different evolutionary path with our technology," Alex replied. "According to the fragments we've recovered, our ancestors focused on neural integration and adaptive systems rather than raw power." They entered a massive spherical chamber at the heart of the flagship. At its center floated what looked like a pilot's chair, but with no visible controls. "The integration nexus," Guardian announced. "From here, qualified human commanders can control not just this vessel, but the entire fleet as an extension of their thoughts." Alex approached the chair cautiously. "You mean it's controlled by thinking?" "Correct. Human brains possess unique neural plasticity that allows for multi-system integration. Your ancestors designed this fleet to be an extension of human consciousness." Ambassador Lyra looked troubled. "This is why the early coalition feared humans. This kind of technology, merging mind and machine, it goes against everything most species believe about the natural order. It's also why the fleet can only be fully activated by humans," Captain Tom added. "A failsafe to prevent capture by hostile forces." Alex studied the chair, recognition dawning on his face. The markings matched the cylinder perfectly. This is what it was made for. He placed the artifact into a receptacle on the chair's arm. Instantly, the entire chamber hummed with energy. Holographic displays sprang to life around them, showing the status of each ship in the fleet. "Authentication confirmed," Guardian announced. "Human command authority recognized. All systems transferring to manual control." Alex hesitated. "I'm not a military commander. I'm just an engineer." President Bell stepped forward. "None of us were prepared for this, Alex. But according to Guardian, You're the only one whose brain waves match the command key's pattern. You have the strongest connection to our ancestors' technology. You won't be alone, Mira added. Coalition experts will assist with strategy and intelligence. Earth military advisors will help with tactical decisions. Alex took a deep breath and sat in the chair. Instantly, neural interfaces extended around his head, creating a glowing crown of light. His eyes widened as information flooded his consciousness. I can feel the entire fleet, every ship, every system. It's like they're extensions of my body. Guardian's form brightened. The alliance is formed. Human and coalition united against the emergence. The fleet awaits your command. Alex's voice changed, becoming stronger and more confident as he connected fully with the ancient systems. Set course for the outer boundary. We need to intercept the emergence before it reaches populated systems. The fleet began to move, thousands of ships acting as one. The greatest armada ever assembled was finally awake, with humanity once again at its heart. The vast human fleet moved through space like a living thing, shifting and adapting its formation with fluid precision. From the Coalition observation vessel, Director Krell watched in stunned silence. The same ships he had dismissed as primitive relics now displayed capabilities that defied conventional understanding. "It's beautiful," whispered Mira, standing beside him. "Look how they move, not like separate vessels, but like cells in a single organism." On the command ship, Alex sat motionless in the neural interface chair, his consciousness spread across thousands of vessels simultaneously. Coalition military advisors and Earth commanders surrounded him, but increasingly found themselves simply observing rather than advising. "The fleet is approaching the emergence boundary," reported Captain Tom, studying the tactical displays. "First visual contact expected in 3 minutes." President Bell turned to Ambassador Lyra. "All those years, your people feared what humans might become. Yet here we are, fighting to save everyone." Lyra nodded solemnly. "The irony is not lost on me. We may have delayed our own salvation by 3,000 years. The main screen flickered to life, showing the scene ahead. What they saw defied easy description. A vast darkness that seemed to bend light around it, spreading across space like ink in water. Where it touched, stars dimmed and faded. Energy drain detected across all forward sensors, Guardian announced. "The emergence is reacting to our presence." Through the neural link, Alex spoke without moving his lips. "Guardian, activate ancestral memory banks. Show me how they fought this before." Information flooded his mind. Battles fought millennia ago, strategies tested, victories and defeats recorded by his ancestors. Understanding bloomed within him. "I know what to do," he said suddenly, his eyes opening wide. "The emergence isn't a single entity. It's billions of energy-consuming microorganisms acting as one. They communicate through quantum fluctuations." The Coalition scientists looked at each other in confusion. "How can you possibly know that?" asked one. "The fleet remembers," Alex replied simply. "Our ancestors learned this through countless encounters. They built these ships specifically to disrupt the emergence's communication pattern." At his command, the fleet split into 7 massive groups, arranging themselves in a complex 3-dimensional pattern. "Each section will generate a specific frequency," Alex explained. "Together, they'll create a resonance field that will break the emergence's collective cohesion." Director Krell shook his head in disbelief. "That's thousands of ships moving in perfect synchronization across light minutes of space. It's mathematically impossible to coordinate with such precision." "Impossible for most species," Captain Tom replied quietly. "But this is why humans built the neural interface. They think differently, see patterns where others see chaos." The ancient ships began to glow with energy as weapon systems activated. But rather than firing directly at the emergence, they fired at each other, creating a web of energy beams connecting all vessels. "What are they doing?" gasped Ambassador Lyra. "They'll destroy themselves." Mira's eyes widened with sudden understanding. "No. Look. They're creating a resonance field, just as Alex said. The energy isn't destructive, it's constructive interference. The web of energy expanded, encircling the advancing darkness of the emergence. Where the field touched the entity, the darkness began to break apart, fragments spinning away from the main mass. "It's working," shouted one of the Earth commanders. "The collective is breaking down." On the bridge of the Coalition flagship, a scientist reported in amazement, "We're detecting billions of individual organisms where the unified field used to be. Without their collective intelligence, they're just harmless energy feeders." For hours, the fleet maintained its complex dance, gradually breaking down the vast emergence into its component parts. When it was finally over, Alex slumped in the command chair, exhausted but triumphant. "The threat is neutralized," Guardian announced, as it was 3,000 years ago. Later, as Coalition and Earth leaders gathered to discuss the future, Director Krell approached Alex with newfound respect. "I once laughed at these ships," he admitted. "I called them primitive, obsolete. I was wrong." Alex smiled tiredly. "Our ancestors built this fleet not just to fight the emergence, but to evolve over time. Every encounter makes it stronger, more adaptive. They weren't thinking in years or decades, but millennia." President Bell gazed out at the assembled fleet, now recognized as the most powerful force in known space. What happens now? With humans reconnected to this technology, the balance of power has shifted dramatically. Ambassador Lyra stepped forward. "Perhaps balance is exactly what we need." The Coalition feared human potential, yet that same potential just saved us all. Maybe it's time for a true alliance, one built on mutual respect rather than fear. As the ancient fleet took position around Earth, a new chapter in galactic history began. Humanity had reclaimed its forgotten legacy, and the species that once laughed at their primitive technology now looked to them for protection and guidance in the darkness between stars.